Continuing on with our season previews, as today we're going to be looking at the Cincinnati Reds. No intro needed here, let's get right into the video. It's safe to say the Reds have been one of baseball's worst teams over the past decade. They have made the playoffs once since the 2013 season, and that was in 2020 where they were swept in the wildcard round by the Atlanta Braves. And last year they took a huge step back as they went from 83 wins in 2021 all the way down to 62 last year. And at this point, the title of the video may not seem very sensible, but I want to go into their roster top to bottom, and then afterwards I'm going to jump into why I think they're going to be a lot better than you think. Now, so far this offseason, they have made some minor pickups in Kevin Newman, Luke Maile, Curt Casali, Wil Myers, Luke Weaver, and Nick Solak. As for their subtractions, they really haven't lost anyone outside of Jeff Hoffman, who they designated for assignment. Now, offensively, as a team last year, they were one of the league's worst as they had a .676 team OPS, which ranked 26th, and 156 home runs, which ranked 19th. Now, looking at their projected lineup this season, I want to start with Tyler Stephenson, who was very good last year in limited time as he hit .319 with 6 home runs and an .854 OPS. I think Stephenson is a top 10 catcher in the game today. The only thing getting in his way is his health, but if he does stay healthy, I think he is going to be one of the league's best offensive catchers. They also have the 2021 Rookie of the Year in Jonathan India, who hit .249 with 10 home runs and a .705 OPS. It was a disappointing and injury-riddled 2022 season for India, but I think he's going to return back to his Rookie of the Year form this season and be much better. Another bat in this lineup is the future Hall of Famer in Joey Votto, who was disappointing last year as he hit .205 with 11 home runs and a .689 OPS. And we can't forget about the former top prospect in Nick Senzel, who last year hit .231 with 5 home runs and 8 stolen bases. They also have TJ Friedl, who was pretty good last year in limited time as he hit .240 with 8 home runs and 7 stolen bases. As mentioned earlier, they also picked up Wil Myers from the Padres, who last year hit .261 with 7 home runs and a .713 OPS. Jake Fraley is another outfielder who will get some at-bats this year, as last year he hit .259 with 12 home runs and an .828 OPS. Kevin Newman is another name who I expect to get some at-bats in this lineup, as last year with the Pirates he hit .274 with 8 stolen bases. Spencer Steer is someone who didn't play very much last year. He only hit .211 with 2 home runs, but I do think he has some potential, and I think he's going to get some reps this year in this lineup. As for some other names in this lineup who could see some at-bats, we have Nick Solak, Curt Casali, Luke Maile, and Stuart Fairchild. And I also want to mention 2 big-name prospects in this system in Elly De La Cruz and Noelvi Marte. De La Cruz is a shortstop by trade, but he may see some at-bats at third base if they do call him up this year, and I think he is going to get called up. I mean, the guy had 28 home runs and 46 stolen bases last year in the minor leagues, so he's a big impact player. He's a number 10 prospect in baseball today, and I think he's going to have a big impact if he does get called up. As for Marte, he is also a shortstop. He's the number 29 prospect in baseball, and I would not be surprised at all to see him get called up this year and have an impact from day one. So as a whole, I do think this offense is going to be improved this season. You have 2 key names in Tyler Stephenson and Jonathan India, who missed lots of time last year due to injury, who hopefully are healthy this year, and you have the 2 big name prospects I just mentioned in Elly De La Cruz and Noelvi Marte. Now, getting onto their pitching, it was very bad last year as they had a 4.86 team ERA, which ranked 28th. As for their starting rotation, I want to start with Hunter Greene, the former top prospect, who last year in 126 innings had a 4.44 ERA with 164 strikeouts. They also have another young starter with lots of potential in Nick Lodolo, who last year in 103 innings had a 3.66 ERA with 131 strikeouts. Connor Overton is another name who I expect to be in the starting rotation, as last year in only 33 innings he did have a 2.73 ERA. They also have Graham Ashcraft, who last year in 105 innings posted a 4.89 ERA. I would also expect Luis Cessa to get some starts, as last year in 81 innings he had a 4.57 ERA. And while he was really bad last year, I do think their offseason pickup in Luke Weaver is going to get some starts. So as a whole, this starting rotation is definitely not the most talented in the league, but I am all in on Hunter Greene and Nick Lodolo. I think they are both going to take huge steps forward and be all-star caliber pitchers. Moving on to their bullpen, it was also pretty bad last year as they had a 4.72 bullpen ERA, which ranked 28th. As for the 9th inning role, I think it's going to go to Alexis Diaz, who last year had 10 saves, all while posting a 1.84 ERA. As for some other arms in this bullpen who could have an impact, you have Fernando Cruz, Buck Farmer, Lucas Sims, Reiver Sanmartin, and Ian Gabot. So for this bullpen, it's also not very talented, but with a full season under his belt, I think Alexis Diaz could emerge into a very good closer. So now that we went through this roster top to bottom, let's take a look at the Reds' outlook record-wise and also why I think they're going to be a lot better than you think. Now, I understand the Reds aren't going to be a good baseball team this year. In fact, I think they're going to win right around 75 games. So I'm not saying they're good by any stretch of the imagination, but I think they're going to be a lot better than everyone thinks because I feel like everyone I have been seeing has been saying they're going to be a 100-loss team yet again. And I just don't think that's the case. Like I said earlier, I think Jonathan India and Tyler Stevenson, two of their most important offensive bats, aren't going to be injured like they were last year, and I think Elly De La Cruz and Noelvi Marte are also going to come up and have an impact. I'm also very optimistic about the top end of their rotation. Nick Lodolo and Hunter Greene I think are going to break out and be very good. And while their bullpen isn't going to be good, I think Alexis Diaz is going to lock down the 9th inning role and be very reliable for them. So no, I'm not saying they're going to be a playoff team or even be close to it. I think they're going to be, like I said, right around 75 wins, but I think that's a lot better than everyone thinks. Maybe I'm being too optimistic with the Reds. Maybe they will finish with 100 losses again, but I just don't think that's the case. Let me know what you guys think of the Reds down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.